Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Andy. I'm from the freedomskillsacademy.com. So this is just a quick short video. I want to talk about reframing. This is a psychological, is it right to use the word trick or technique, where you basically change a person's perception of something by giving it a sort of a different name or going at a different angle, approaching something slightly differently, trying to make that person see it completely differently. So I want to use an example from history that kind of explains this in a really good way, and that is it's the 18th century, and it's no longer there now. It's part of Germany, but there used to be an area called Prussia, and the king of Prussia at that time was Frederick the Great. So I think he was from around 1740, around that time. He realised that they were having a problem with the price of bread. They basically, their diets were mainly wheat and meat, and so there was a lot of issues with the bread prices fluctuating. They would go up and down, and he also realised that if a lot of the people are relying on sort of bread, then there's a higher chance of having problems with sort of famine. So he decided that he wanted to get the Prussian people to start eating potatoes, so that way they had two forms of carbohydrates or two forms of staple foods that they could focus on. This way that it would reduce the possibility of having famine, but it also meant that it kept the prices of bread and wheat more sort of stable. And so what he did was he decided that he would get the people of Prussia to eat potatoes. Now the problem was that people of Prussia at that time didn't eat many vegetables, nor did they actually want to eat potatoes, because they're ugly, they're dirty, they're not particularly pretty. I mean, unless you actually fry them and make them into chips and other stuff, they're quite disgusting really. They're just a big watery, chewy mess. So the people of Prussia didn't want to eat potatoes. So as the king, he decided that he would force people and make it compulsory to grow and eat potatoes. This didn't really work. A lot of the Prussians basically decided to not grow and eat potatoes. Unfortunately, some people who refused to grow potatoes were executed, but the Prussian people stood firm and decided that they did not want to eat potatoes. So the king decided he had to do something else. He went looking for a solution, and he decided he would approach it from a different angle. And this is it's quite genius really, because he's managed to turn the whole nation of Prussia into wanting to eat potatoes, from going from a point of where they didn't want to eat them when they were being forced to eat them. So what he did was he refrained the potato from being a dirty, disgusting, ugly vegetable to being royally approved, must-have food, which was protected by royal guards. So basically what he did was he instructed the royal gardeners to start growing potatoes in the royal fields, in the royal grounds, and he then instructed a group of royal guards, to protect them. Now, when we say protect, we kind of mean protect. He told them to appear to be protecting them, but not actually do anything. It was all very cosmetic. So from the outside, the locals started to see these potatoes being grown by the royal farmers. Word was getting out that the kings and the royalty and the ruling classes were enjoying these potatoes, and people would see that these fields and these crops were being protected by the guards. This then created that idea that if it's fit for a king, then it must be good to eat. It must be a must-have product. The potato had got the royal seal of approval, and it had royal guards protecting it. So at night time, the locals then would start to rob the potato fields. They would take potatoes, and then they would take them home. They would feast on them, and then they would start planting them. And I don't quite know the time period or how long it took. I mean, I do believe this is a true story, but I don't know how long it took to actually transform the people of Prussia from hating potatoes to desiring potatoes. But this led to the people of Prussia actually wanting to eat potatoes, and they all started to grow them. Which is kind of funny, because technically then they were growing them illegally. I don't know if it was like cannabis plants where they were hiding them and putting sheets over, but the potato itself wasn't necessarily illegal, and yes, it was protected by the guards, but it was all an illusion, a way to change the perception and the opinions of the people. They did it in a back doorway, if you want to say it that way. By not forcing a person to have a potato, by not forcing a person to buy, they actually created that desire within them. But the main thing is that they reframed the potato from being this dirty, ugly, disgusting thing that people didn't want to eat to giving it the royal seal of approval, so much so that it was protected by armed guards. And that way he was able to convert the people of Prussia into potato eaters. So, interesting point is that people's opinions and perceptions of life are not necessarily created personally, they are in fact created by other people or other circumstances, the things that we see, the things that we do. And that just basically means that if what you are seeing on a day-to-day basis is wrong or is made to look a certain way, that can shape your perception. That is a powerful thing to know and understand if you are into marketing and if you want to get into marketing or if you want to sell a product. If you're in a market where it's saturated and there's so many products which are similar to the one that you want to create, let's say you want to write a book, but everybody's done it, and you think to yourself, why are they going to want to buy mine? Because there's loads out there already. It's you can still make money selling the same product to the same market, to the same niche, to the same industry, by reframing that product from a different angle, from a different approach. So again, this is something that you probably need to sit down and have a think about. You can create the same product as other people, but you just need to come at it from a different angle, such as with the potato. Potato is just a vegetable, but by giving it the royal seal of approval, by giving it an armed guard, by making it seem more important than what it actually is, he was able to convert the whole of Prussia into potato eaters. So that is something that I just wanted to talk about today, just quickly, and that is reframing. So always try and remember the story of Frederick the Great of Prussia from the 18th century, and how he managed to turn hundreds, thousands of people in Prussia into potato eaters who didn't want to eat potatoes, all because he reframed the potato into a must-have, royal seal approved, armed guard protected, must-have food item. So thank you very much for watching, and my name's Andy Lehman. I am from the Freedom Skills Academy, and I will speak to you again in another video. Thanks very much. Goodbye.